We are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us this Tuesday. Elder care attorney and expert Tim Takacs is with us. His colleague also with him this morning from his practice, Josh Hunter, who is a Medicare specialist. Good to have you both on. So it's a pleasure. We got some calls for you. Should we take them?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right,
let's start off with Betty. Good morning, Betty.
Good morning.
Hello. What's on your mind?
I'm homebound.
Okay.
I'm 79 years old. I live by myself. And I was wondering if I could get a lawyer to come out to my house. Excuse me. And if I could get a lawyer to come to my house and fix me up a notarizer, I can't think.
You need a will
or power of attorney.
Power of attorney for someone.
Power of attorney.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to have our contact information come up.
Yeah.
So hang on. So stay with us, Betty, and we'll get. So, and I know there's going to be rolling it out here somewhere.
Oh yeah, we will. Betty, you stay. Well, there it is, right there.
Yeah.
Betty, take your time. When you get a chance, get a pen and paper and write down that phone number, and we'll put it up again before the end of the show. Now, the question is, she's homebound.
Right.
I don't know, can it all be done over the phone, or can you make a house call?
We've done that too.
You'll do house calls. Okay.
Yeah.
And so she's asking for power of attorney. It sounds like she lives alone.
Right.
You know, she doesn't get out, but she's able to function on her own there.
Yeah, we'll find out what she is, what her circumstances is, and if we can't help her, we'll find someone that does.
Okay, and then a power of attorney is something where you're allowing someone close to her to have the ability to make some decisions on her behalf.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah, we have a good intake protocol to help understand what she needs, and then, like he said, who can do that for her if not us.
Perfect. All right, so Betty, listen, you stay watching the show here, and we'll put that up on the screen again here, and by then you'll get a pen and paper, and then you write down the number. I'll read it to you over the air. You make that call and talk to them there, and they'll set something up with you, okay? Let's go next to Ronnie. Ronnie, good morning. Hi, Ronnie.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
I got a question on, that red, white, and blue card.
Yes, sir.
They keep telling my wife that she can get another card that won't affect that, where she can get shoes and dentistry and stuff like that. Is that true, or is that just something they're trying to switch her to?
It's true, but it could be a little different. Here's what they're talking about. If they're talking about adding additional coverage like vision, dental, or hearing, we're always talking about a Medicare Advantage plan. Those do not come with traditional Medicare. So if you're thinking about making that transition, there's a couple things you need to know. First of all, do you like the coverage you have right now? Because you would be completely changing the whole package to switch to Medicare Advantage if you don't already have that. And it sounds like you're probably on original Medicare.
Okay.
So be really careful, because if you give up that supplement plan you have, you won't be able to get it back. You get guaranteed issue rights once. So you have to be really sure it's a good plan for you, and just those special bells and whistles, the vision, dental, and hearing, is not a good enough reason to change all of your medical coverage if the plan itself is not a good fit.
Who would it have been that's reaching out to him?
Potentially an agent.
An agent for another Advantage plan?
That's right.
Okay.
Sometimes agents don't follow the rules and do cold call people, so you have to be careful with that.
Oh, by the way, explain the rules. Meaning you're supposed to solicit them not the other way around.
That's right. They're not supposed to cold call you. They're not supposed to just show up at your home. They're not supposed to sell at certain events. They have a very distinct list of rules to where they don't take advantage of people.
Ronnie, does that make sense to you?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Hey,
Yes,
listen, you just might have saved him. Okay, now you're not necessarily saying what was offered there is necessarily not going to work for him, but he could, if he's happy with what he's getting on some of these things right now, he jeopardizes some of that going to something new that may not be as closely aligned with what they need medically, but he's going to get discounts on shoes.
Right, because Medicare Advantage isn't just the bells and whistles, it's all of your medical coverage, and you also put yourself in that network. Yeah. So let's say he's got doctors he's loved to see for the last few years. If they're not taking the plan, who cares about the $100 towards a pair of glasses?
Yeah,
he's lost his
medical
medical
doctors under this other plan.
Right.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Boy, he's good. He's
Yeah,
good,
he
isn't he? Isn't he good?
Yeah, he is.
Do you interview a lot of people for that job?
Oh, hundreds.
All right. Well, I think that helped Ronnie.
Don't say more because I have to pay more.
Okay.
No, I'm like that.
All right. Well, Ronnie, good. I think something. I'm glad he asked that because I guarantee you other people have heard similar
Yes, sir.
offers.
Yes, they have.
Let's go to Joe. Joe, good morning. Hi, Joe.
Good morning, Nick.
Morning.
Hey, Joe.
Question for your guest. In a Medicare Advantage plan, what, in their definition, there is what we're called a passive state, meaning that in our plan, there is no in or out of network. Even if you go to an out of network provider, as long as they will file it, they will get paid just like they was in network. And what's your definition of a passive state?
Passive state.
I haven't quite heard that phrasing, but what it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, your plan is probably an HMO, which is a health maintenance organization, and usually they have a more broad sense of what their networks are, but you pay a little bit more across the board.
Okay.
The other alternative is we hear Advantage plans that are PPOs, which are preferred provider organizations, smaller networks, which you pay a little less. So I imagine that's probably what you're on. It's just some way for them to, brand themselves and call it something a little different. But so long as you can stay in network, I recommend that every time.
Does that help, Joe? Does that sound right?
It's a PPO. It's not an HMO.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, and so you find that PPO gives you a broader range of doctors you have to select from? Or you can go to whoever you want, or?
Not necessarily. The one that I'm in right now, I haven't found a doctor yet that won't take it. But, in case you did, the company says that it doesn't matter if they're in network or not. As long as they'll file the claim, they will pay it just like they were in network.
Is there any chance that this plan works with TennCare?
Is this part of TennCare? It's not part of TennCare, is it, Joe?
No.
Okay.
No, it's a different plan altogether. But passive state, from what they describe it to us, is that there is no in and out of network, basically. So I mean, there is some in networks, but if you go to an out of network provider, if they will file a claim, in other words, basically what they're telling us, if they take Medicare, then they will pay it.
Okay.
They will pay the claim.
Yeah.
Well, just for safety's sake, I would always make sure you call before you see a new provider anytime you have an Advantage plan, just to be sure of that, because what the plan says and what the provider says can sometimes be different things. Doctors have choices.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Joe. We've had that situation with my mom, who was sent to a specialist. Something turned out, she went to it and they weren't in the plan.
Yeah.
And so you need to check that stuff ahead of time.
Right.
And run it by. Shouldn't the offices, when you go in there, check it beforehand, say, all right, what plan are you on? Does that ever happen? Or?
Well, that's a thing we would all like to see, but you got to think, what's their expertise on that? They have however many plans that are coming in, from Medicare to private.
So they're just kind of taking it down, and then you find out later whether it covered it or you get a bill.
Right, that's the billing specialist in the back who's figuring that out.
It's not a fun thing to find out after the fact.
Certainly not.
And there is some personal responsibility obviously involved, where you should check that out ahead of time.
Yes.
Let's go next to Cindy. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Cindy.
Morning, Nick.
Good morning.
I just want to ask them a question. See, I broke my foot, and I'm on Medicare, and I also have Humana for prescription. Okay. And anyway, so I break my ankle, and two places kind of squished it.
Ouch.
So they first popped it back in and put a cast on me. Okay, and I was fine with that. But I'm like, when is this thing going to come off, So they tell me I have to see a sports orthopedic surgeon, so I found one. And I went there and had the surgery. It was supposed to be an in and an out. I didn't want to stay.
Okay.
And next thing I know, I wake up. They got me hooked up on morphine. All this crap. I said I was supposed to go home. I'm not. I'm not staying. You know,
Plans
because I
changed.
haven't
Yeah, right.
asked
Hope they got the
Medicare
right
about this
patient.
surgery.
Yeah, right.
Was I wrong, or would they pay for it? So I had to escape a couple days later because I was fine. There's nothing they can do. Then they try to force me to take these people coming in my house. I had somebody to take care of me, and I said no. Was I right to do that?
Okay, thank you, Sam. By the way, Cindy's a tough customer, former pro wrestler.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
Cindy's
that's
awesome. All
That's a good question. So she was asking about what her rights are. You can always deny care in terms of something you don't believe that you need. I would be very careful to do that and talk with at least your primary physician. But if you didn't feel that you needed skilled care in the home, well, of course, that's your right. You don't have to have people come in your home. That's just part of something. Once you've been hospitalized with Medicare, if you're there long enough and your condition requires it, you can qualify for skilled care.
Right, and
that sounds like what was
home
happening.
health. Someone comes in, occupational therapy, whatever it is, physical therapy, and that's part of a Medicare benefit. And obviously Cindy said that she didn't feel like she needed that.
Right.
Well, she's got all those wrestler muscles. Maybe she
Well,
does.
yeah, she's a
it
tough
could be.
customer. Okay, so
Right.
she has a right to say no. By the way, so would she have been paying for that in-home health care, or would that have been covered probably by her plan?
Depends on what her coverage
Depends
was.
what her coverage
So
is. Does
Advantage
that-
plan coverage and a traditional Medicare may handle that a little differently, but it's
So
usually
how
covered.
would traditional Medicare handle that?
Yeah, so if you qualify, usually your first 20 days of skilled is covered on either one.
Okay.
And then you may have co-pays that begin to ensue depending on what your supplement looks like.
Gotcha.
And that can be either in a facility or at home.
Okay. Okay. Well, listen, we'll take a break on that note. When we come back, Alan, you'll be the first one, next caller we get when we come back, and we'll discuss more things with Tim and his buddy over here that just knows
Josh,
everything.
He does.
about-
He knows everything.
I mean, man, he's good. Well, not only that,
Yes.
like you, this stuff can be complex, and it helps when you explain it in a way dummies like me can understand it. So if I can, I know our smart viewers will. So we'll take a break. We'll be back with more of your calls. Stay tuned, Alan. We'll get you right when we come back.